So now I'm going to be holding contacts on one side of the sacrum and then the other to influence the second and third cervical vertebra in this area right here, up here. As I apply a little bit of a flexion extension roll, just like this in it, that's going to start producing the wave going up and down the spine. There it goes, going into that second cervical vertebra. I'm going to get to the third cervical vertebra on the other side, like this. And as I produce these waves, watch this, lift this up more, a little higher, a little higher. Here we go. And now we're going to add a little bit of this motion, side to side motion in it. And that adds side to side. Now I add it to both here. And as I apply more of a figure eight motion here, you start seeing the figure eight motion there. This is the opportunity for the body to take the energy that's been through the entire spine, locked up, holding the person in defense, locked into a way of experiencing the world that's not real, having to defend oneself, taking the anchors of the connection to that, dissolving it, and using that as breakthrough energy to refine the system. An area that before in the spine was connected to defense and having to protect itself was able to freely move because the brain could find it. Once you could find it, you can make changes with it. The challenge is those areas that would protect us with most are those things that are most invisible. When it moves from the invisible to visible, the body can get a handle on it. And with it, create exquisite spinal adjustments. And we're getting the figure eight motion that we'd like to see, which means the information energy can move to all areas the brain could find all of those articulations, all of those joints there, and start moving them because there's no defense. As I move this way, the chest is going to rise up. And now I have access through the spine in this area, which is where the sympathetic nervous system is, and that part that makes you focus to defend yourself or protect yourself. This is going to help suspend some of that activity. And as the person, he's on his back, the wave moves forward of the spine, allowing some of the heart to start engaging, which sets the stage for the next level. This wave is moving further through. And that's really good to see. Well, I want to make sure that it can move to the vertebra here because all of the anchors or attachments of that phasic resonance, of that same cord in the body, will actually move back to this area. And as it moves more freely, the connection to that past pattern doesn't have to habitually keep playing back because it's just not there. Help get a little more breath through the spine and right up to that area, arms out a little bit more. Bring the chest up a little bit more. Get this maneuver to help suspend the sympathetic tone or the need to defend oneself as it moves it back through those spinal gateways. Going to refine the respiratory wave, and all of it is just further refining. At this point, he's getting a very wonderful figure eight motion occurring between here and here. And as I come in and hold the contact, watch as I approach the area, he's already starting to move towards me. Of course, this spinal gateway vortex is coming further out. It's a very gentle touch. As I'm moving, he's moving his body into what I'm doing. Figure eight motion here. Lift this up a little bit more. It's level 2C. The body posture is one that does not allow for defense to continue. The rocking occurs right in these areas. I want you to watch something else. As he approaches from this distance, watch how he's already responding here. Why is that important? What is more effective if you recognize a lion by its roar or by its breath? If you recognize a lion by its breath, it'll probably be the last thing you smell. If you recognize a lion by the roar, you have more time adaptively to make a change and plan your strategy to avoid the lion or tiger, or to go after a meal, or go a different path. What this is doing is saying that he has more time now because he can perceive changes in his environment at a more effective level without the stress, without the defense, just because he's more at ease taking information in. This allows him to come up with strategies that in defense he cannot have for his spine, his body, and in life. What I'm going to demonstrate now is advanced care network. It's a wellness application. There really is nothing to resolve here, nothing that really has to be corrected per se. But at this point, we'd like to be able to bring aboard more of the higher strategies of the nervous system and be able to use more of the later developmental intelligences. The application is going to look very similar in many parts as we did before. The difference here is the modulation of force to barely a touch, because the body responds so much better to that level. Waves go even further forward. This maneuver is going to allow that when he moves his hands over his hand, stretches to get a glass off a shelf or some other movement, he could actually start creating more of alignment within himself. And again, responsiveness at a greater distance. This may look like a structural chiropractic adjustment, but if you were to watch, if I put my hand here, this is the actual position he does as he goes to make the change. The thing is, there's no vertebra locked. There's nothing fixated. It's moving the same way an adjustment classically is done, but at this point, further advancing wellness strategies, connecting to those areas that are already cycling through with the awareness of his body. So we've seen a progression in network spinal analysis to different levels of care. This is basically called a nonlinear model. Nonlinear model means a slight change in what you do can create a large change in the outcome. What we're looking for is his body to be able to increase its energy efficiency and enhance spinal and neural integrity of the system. Rather than looking to correct a particular vertebral distortion, a fixation, or a pain, instead we say, if we don't go to correct it, instead, how can we optimize the spinal system and create new strategies in moving energy, breath, becoming aware, taking areas that before were wounded or injured and let those become areas of fuel for reorganization, to produce new successful strategies for organizing the spine and therefore helping organize the life.